The ideal Sunday in Portland used to be timing it just right so you could roll from a late brunch to an early happy hour with a nice bike ride somewhere in between. Now, the pandemic might have brought a few of our favorite places down, but we're seeing a resurgence of eateries bringing back the happiest time of the day, that sweet spot between 4 and 6 p.m. So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with Brooke Jackson Glidden, editor of Eater Portland, about the city's best happy hour spots to help you ride out the summer season. It's Wednesday, August 9th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. You know, Brooke, preparing for this interview actually depressed me just like a little because, it made me realize like I don't ever go to happy hour anymore. I feel like it's a thing you do more often when you work in an office.
That's so true. My office has been my apartment for like 5 years now, and I really miss it.
I know. Somebody invite us to happy hour. We want to hear about how lame your boss is. We want to hear all the gossip.
Yeah.
But so like you do get paid to do this.
Yes.
Let's start with like your go-to happy hour. Like, do you have a regular spot?
I do. I will say that like when I go to happy hour, I'm doing it for like different reasons, right? So like sometimes a happy hour is really like I forgot to eat lunch and I want something cheap and kind of like easy and fun. And so when I'm doing something like that, I might go to like Smart Donkeys happy hour and get like, I think their burritos are like $7 or something during happy hour. Mm-hmm. And it's just like such a good deal. I mean, you can get a margarita there and do that sort of thing. But to me, that's like, I'm going to happy hour to have like, that's like lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life of Pi does the like $8 margarita pizza. And it's technically considered happy hour, but it runs from like 11 to 6. So like it's really that's just lunch. So, but you know, I think like that comes to mind. Or like Buna does these like Pav sliders during their happy hour. It's like a good like lunch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. See, you just hit it. Happy hours, you're thinking about food.
Of course. Like I'm me. But I will say if it's like a nice day and I want to like vibe a little bit, I really like the happy hour, and this is like a classic, but like the Pope House Bourbon Lounge happy hour in Northwest. Mm-hmm. Place has been there forever, and their happy hour is wildly inexpensive. They do this thing where it's like a $6 mix and match. So basically you can pick from a list of whiskeys and you can pick like how it's served. So I'll get like a $6 whiskey sour and, you know, do like kind of a snacky thing. And you're sitting out on their like covered patio thing. It's like in this old Victorian. It's just like really, really nice, classic happy hour vibes.
I love the Pope House. Yeah, I feel like I've always chosen my go-to happy hour spots depending on food options. But Julia, our audio producer, who is young, was saying
looking for drinks.
Yeah, she's like, no, do you know how expensive drinks are in this economy? You know?
I know.
So I don't know, like if there's more cocktail places that people could go to just for like fancy drinks.
Yeah, so like I would say in terms of like happy hours, if you're in it for like the drinks, like if you're like wanting to go to a cocktail bar and not spend like, I swear to God, like most cocktails are like $15 now. So it's like, you know, okay, I want to go to the cool bar, but I don't want to spend that kind of money. Both Pink Rabbit and Hey Love have like really good, like, okay, I'm going for the cocktail sorts of happy hours. Sometimes those two specific places can get a little crowded later in the day or in the evening. And I feel like if you go during happy hour, it's mellower at both of those places, which can be really, really nice.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to food though.
Yeah.
Which to me is a complete happy hour spot. Because that's what I think of. I'm like, these are expensive restaurants.
Right.
During their happy hour, I can get their thing. And then, you know, and here's the deal. We're talking about happy hour, which is definitely, we have that like, you know, 4 to 6 window or 4 to 5, 3 to 5. But there's also the late night happy hour. And so I'm going to start us off because I think Nostrana's late night happy hour, which is like 1 hour before they close, where they're just like, all right, guys, who wants some pizza? You know, who wants some, you know, butter tomato sauce.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, that like Marcella Hazan sauce they make.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, 100%. I love a late night happy hour, and I feel like there are fewer of them now. Like I think you see more early happy hours than late night happy hours than there used to be. Like East Gleason, they have like a good late night happy hour, and it's like, you know, lasagna pinwheels and pizza and like that kind of vibe, and it's like from 9 to 11. You know what I mean? So like if that's the scene, like I like East Gleason for that. If we're talking food, like if we're really talking about like I'm going for like a meal that's going to really be satisfying, Have you done the happy hour at Tiny Bubble Room? It's so, so good. I was blown away. Like, I think their cocktails are good. They're really good, frankly. But like, they made like one of the best gumbos I've had in Portland. And it was like a happy hour gumbo that was like, I don't know, like $7. They do like catfish sliders and that kind of thing. Really, really good. And like very clearly like dialed in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I am a fan of Tiny Bubble Room. Before I moved to St. John's and I lived in the Arbor Lodge neighborhood, that was like my afternoon routine as I'd go for a long walk along Willamette with my dog. And then we'd go to Tiny Bubble Room.
That sounds so nice. I would totally do that. Similarly, up there, Campana, like their happy hour. Okay, so like their average pastas are like tend to be like mid-20s. They like knock $10 off their bowls of pasta. Yeah. And it's all like, it's playing the hits. You know what I mean? Like you can get a puttanesca or like a penne alla vodka. And it runs all night at the bar. So if you're me, that's just a perfect Wednesday evening. Like I go in, I grab a seat at a bar. I can have like a Negroni and a bowl of penne alla vodka. And like, I'm set. That's it right there, baby.
Oh my God. I want to do that. I'm doing that. That is what I'm going to. That's perfect. All right, well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, more happy hour spots with Brooke. So these are all great. Could we just get nostalgic a little bit?
Yeah.
Which ones do you miss the most that are no longer around?
So when I'm thinking about like bars that have closed, I think that every person who has worked in the restaurant industry is probably still grieving the shift drinks happy hour, which ran for like a ridiculously long period of time to like accommodate people who worked in the restaurant industry. And it was super cheap and like the cocktails were good. Like it was just like a classic. And it's just, there's been such a hole left by that place. I will also say, like, in terms of just new wounds, like wounds that are still bleeding, Lazy Susan closing is so hard for me. And like, I love whitefish. It brings me back to being on the East Coast. And they made that really great whitefish dip, and you could get it with fried saltines, and you would do the smoked whitefish for like happy hour. And it was so good. In terms of happy hours that were great that no longer exist, like the restaurant still exists, Ringside's happy hour. I love a steakhouse happy hour.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
That's so fun to me where it's like I'm sitting in a bar, I'm drinking a Manhattan, I'm eating steak bites and like maybe some onion rings. And like it was a steal for a while. It was like maybe half price, a bunch of their apps. So you could get like $6 steak bites and stuff. And as far as I know, they have not brought back any version of happy hour.
Well, you know, I actually do miss the Portland City Grill happy hour. I feel like everyone would go, we know what the food's like. No one needs to email me like, we get it. We get it. But you know what? Once you have that piano player, like doing some sort of mashup with like the Peanuts theme song and like Hey Ya from Outkast, and you're like, I'm having a wonderful time right now.
I think happy hour isn't just about food and drink. It's a state of mind. It's a vibe. So like, I think like, there is something about like, okay, it's 5. I'm just off work and I'm just really kind of having a moment where I'm feeling like a person in the city. You know what I mean? I'm on my own. So like, I have that experience if I'm like doing my own thing. Another steakhouse happy hour I'd like for similar reasons is Clyde's. Clyde's will fill the hole in your heart left by the Ringside Happy Hour and Portland City Grill.
Clyde's Prime Rib Restaurant and Bar, wonderful happy hour, guys. That's actually great.
Such a good one.
And the other one that we didn't mention, and I'm just gonna say, and I hate saying it because like it gets busier, every time. Jacqueline has a wonderful happy hour, and if you guys
heck yeah,
cheap oysters, cheap amazing oysters at a restaurant that is usually like, it's a little pricey.
Yeah.
This is the thing I love about happy hours, Brooke, is that you just got out of work. You somehow got off early enough to hit a happy hour. You feel like you're never going to die. Like you're just like, I'm going to live forever.
I'm invincible, actually.
I'm going to live forever. This day is going to last forever because I just got to work and now I have a drink and now I'm eating cheap food and it's 5.
Oh my gosh, the dream.
Do you remember that? Oh, living the dream.
I love that so much. Also, Jacqueline, so I am a big proponent of Jacqueline Happy Hour. I think it's a really sexy date. Like it's really, if you like meet someone for dollar oysters and muscadet at Jacqueline, like that's That's fun. Like that's
You're
a
gonna
good
get married.
You're gonna get married. if you're trying to lock it down. Also thinking about like places that are like really strong restaurants that maybe you don't necessarily feel like you can afford to go otherwise. Kachka's happy hour is great.
Oh, I forgot about Kachka.
Kachka happy hour, I will scream it from the rooftops. Sometimes, like Kachka, when I'm going to Kachka, I am kind of feeling like, ooh, we're going to celebrate. We're going to do the Zakuski thing. And we're going to like, you know what I mean? Like I'm going for like a celebration. But sometimes I just want like a bowl of their pelmeni or whatever. And you get it for like a few bucks off during happy hour. It's really nice. You can get the vodkas and all that. But like, you can also get stuff that's just on the happy hour menu that are like just so good. Like I think like they have like a buffalo chicken dumpling.
What?
Like caviar, like smetana, French onion dip. Like it's just stuff that's like silly. And I love food that's ultimately silly. So like, I don't know, in terms of like really just dialed in happy hour, super, super high quality food and also like fun drinks and vodkas and stuff. Like they walk a nice balance between like, this is kind of a party and also this feels like really good. Like this feels special.
Anyone listening going, they've just said so many names. Go to our show notes. We're going to make sure that all these are written down. There's going to be links. And don't worry, we're not going to link to the ones that are closed. That was just for Old Portland to mourn with us. I know there's a ton of happy hours. We're just talking about the hits here. These are the best ones the ones we consider the best.
Everyone has like their neighborhood happy hour. My version of this is the Rambler. Like I love the Rambler happy hour. And you get like tornado potatoes and you sit out around the fire.
I would have
sitting out on a back patio. Yeah. And I have a beer and it's just like that kind of energy where it's like, I'm going to just hang out with pals and relax.
I feel like if I go to the Rambler enough times, I'm going to become straight. Like that just feel like the Rambler is so straight. Like whenever I go there, really? I'm like, am I going to walk out with a boyfriend? I don't know what's happening right now. It just has such straight
funny
vibes
to me. Really?
Yeah.
I always feel like I meet queer women there. Where are you sitting?
I'm sorry. There's a gay section at the Rambler I didn't know about, Brooke.
the secret gay corner of the. Well, I feel like maybe it's gayer outside.
That's it. That's a t-shirt. But you know, Julie, I'm talking to Julie, my coworker here. Why have we never gone to happy hour? We should go to happy hour sometime. One of us. We should figure this out. I think we did it once. Like, I don't know how it happened, but we went to Bar Diane happy hour.
Oh, I love Bar Diane.
And we were so happy.
It delivered what was promised.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got there.
Oh, that just reminds me of a new happy hour. There's this bar. I'm like perplexed by it and kind of delighted. It's called Sad Valley. It's on Killingsworth.
So cool. Sad Valley.
It looks so wild in there. It's
love
like
it.
Kind of death themed, but in not a bummer way. It's like not
pink?
goth or anything. It's just like they have like a coffin hanging from the ceiling with a disco ball in it, and like, but they have an unhappy hour.
It's femme goth.
Yeah, what he said, the owner was like, I took a picture of a sunset and used the actual colors in that sunset for the color palette. It's like vaporwave funeral home meets like Memento Mori. Like I am perplexed, but they have an unhappy hour.
Unhappy hour. I love this. What does their unhappy hour entail? Do you have to pay more?
See, that would make sense if you're leaning into it. It's like $5 wells and $5 fries and that kind of thing. But I do think it's fun to think of it as an unhappy hour.
I like
Spooky.
it. I just looked on their Instagram and there's a picture of a woman in a pink coffin just holding a Rainier.
Yeah. And that's the vibe. That's the energy I'm going for, baby.
Well, Brooke, thank you so much for taking the time to share your happy hour spots. We'll definitely link to Eater's happy hour map for Portland because I know you could find a lot more there as well. But you know what? I feel like we should do a happy hour sometime.
Anytime. Truly.
Really?
I mean, you've been trying to get me up to Slim's every time I'm on here.
We don't have a happy hour. Happy hour is every day at Slim's. Every hour.
Every hour is happy hour at Slim's.
Every hour is happy hour at Slim's.
This is every time I'm on, it just becomes an ad for Slim's.
I didn't even start it this time. This was you, Brooke.
That's true. That's true. I'll take ownership.
And now for your microdose of news. Officials with Bybee Lakes Hope Center, which transformed a never-used Multnomah County jail into a 300-bed shelter for the homeless, say they need more public funding to stay open. You might remember that real estate investor Jordan Schnitzer bought the Wapato jail from Multnomah County a few years ago, and the city of Portland, along with United Way, helped renovate it into a clean and sober shelter, though the facility has been privately funded since then. But now that the center has added a low-barrier emergency shelter, they're asking Multnomah County for $1 million to help with upkeep. And an Aloha woman is now in the Guinness Book of Records for donating the most breast milk. That's right. Over the last 9 years, she's produced up to 2 gallons a day after she was diagnosed with a condition that allows her body to overproduce breast milk. She opted for making life-saving donations to help premature infants instead of treating the condition with a double mastectomy. Bras off to you, Aloha woman. For even more local news and events, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland. We'll throw a link in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you for listening. If you want to support the show, rate or leave us a good review. It really does help us out. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you at Slim's.